Hello, everybody. Here's my hand. All right. Hello, everybody. Once again, we're back after some time for the worst episode ever. That's right. Episode number two. Episode number two. And this one's going to be different because this probably should have been the first episode. Because technically, this episode is actually the namesake of what this little episodic thing we're doing here is. Because it's The Simpsons, one of my favorite shows of all time. Similar to Rick and Morty. And one I've watched a lot of. I can't say I watched all of them. Got the season 14 Blu-ray over here. Got the Simpsons movie. It's pretty cool. I like this. Simpsons figure out the horror thing. And on chemo from, I forgot who made these. They were like collectible ones. Moe's Tavern. I wish I had more of them. I only have this one, but I'm beside myself. I don't have my Simpsons swag. But anyway. So yeah, this is one of my favorite shows of all time. Now, I haven't watched every episode. Full disclosure. Unlike Rick and Morty, which I have. I haven't watched every one. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. From like the time I was alive and I could watch the show, I watched the syndicated episodes. Almost like not too perpendicular to my age. You know, the shows were, it started around the time I was born, not too long after. So, you know, I was into it. And pretty much up till like, even a teenager, up until basically around season 20, I kind of lost track. And just because, you know, things happen, you get caught up with stuff. And I had access to, like, you know, on demand Fox. I could have watched them, and just sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. There's still a bunch of episodes that, even on Disney Plus of this era, I haven't seen. I do know when they did, I think it was like, what, 12 years ago now? Every Simpsons Ever marathon on FX. I recorded those with my DVR. And watch those again. That was like one of the best marathons ever. That was amazing seeing some of these episodes. I've seen some of them, you know, a bunch of times. Had DVDs of some of them before, but it's like some of these I hadn't seen, and some of these like, oh, it's like a mind blown. So I love the show. I think it's one of the greatest shows of all time. I have dabbled in like the sort of the opinion before that The Simpsons was not as good as it once was, and kind of got into the whole zombie Simpsons argument, and I kind of past that because maybe it's because I'm older, but even like watching some of the mid-20s to 30s episodes, like season 30s, like I still think there's some great stuff in there. I do think there's a point when it's like the high point of the show. I don't think we're at the high point anymore, but I still think it's a really good show. Like even recently, the Bart's birthday episode was fantastic. I liked that a lot. It was a really great subversion of tropes and the idea of setting up like a last episode, so to speak. There was one a few years ago about Santa's Little Helper, and there was one about with Jock returning. Like, one thing I do like about the show is that even though they're very far in the run, they'll make these references to these old episodes or these characters. In case Jock, character hadn't appeared since season 1. And that's cool. You know, they have a lot of respect for the past, regardless of everything. And I think there's some episodes I immediately had when I started thinking of good and bad ones. Like, good ones, I immediately think of Burns is There. Probably my favorite episode ever. Treehouse Horror 5. What's another good one? The seemingly never-ending story, I think is the term for it. The one where Burns is in the cave and all that. That is a great one from, like, past season 10 that for a while I thought, oh, nothing past season 10 is good. Like, no, that's not true. There's plenty in there. You know, the Lego Simpsons one that I liked a lot. The Simpsons Rama. Even the other day I was watching a season 26 one I hadn't seen, which is one with Kang and Kodos where they go to their planet. That was very cool. And there's some I've dabbled in past season 30. The one with the band episodes one. So, you know, my opinion of the show's kind of changed over the years. And thankfully, I'm happy about that. And, you know, there's like I said, there's highs and there's lows. And there's some episodes that, probably at least one podcast I was drunk ranting about something I didn't like about something with it. And, you know, whatever. That's Probably true to an extent, but at the same time, I don't feel like that dude anymore. It's whatever, I will say though, that one thing in watching some of these episodes going back is that it's funny how things change. Because not only do you get the Disney, mocking that they probably wouldn't do now because they're owned by them, but you get weird stuff like weird connections. Just one mention about it has really nothing to do with the episode we're going to talk about today. It's the worst episode, but the fact that Star Wars, the movie franchise, the massive multi-million-dollar space opera that has like 1 million TV shows and like a dozen movies, that it exists in Simpsons, but also something called Cosmic Wars, which is just a parody of Star Wars. And even there's a point where they say Disney owned Cosmic Wars. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, if Disney owns Cosmic Wars, do they also own Star Wars? There's little things like that. It's weird. And this was in season 26. So this wasn't a thing of like, thing of like they had established. Like Mark Hamill was in the episode referencing Luke Skywalker like a decade before that, So it's a very, very strange thing. I think it makes it kind of funny because of how weird and ridiculous it gets sometimes. But yeah. Stuff like that is just kind of interesting to me. And kind of going with our thing today, is that over time, things have changed in the show, including how celebrities are used. Now, sometimes there's a case of celebrities on the show basically showing up for the cheap pop back in the day. People don't want to admit that was the thing they were doing, but they were doing. Like, Barry White appearing in the Whacking Day episode. I don't know if he was announcing the Whacking Day episode, but he was basically just there to do a cheap pop. The sizzle of a lovely steak. That's a good line, but it's a cheap pop, right? And there was that one. That's one that when people bring up, like, oh, back in the day, they'd cast Dustin Hoffman. He'd be Lisa's teacher. He'd be Mr. Bergstrom. He wouldn't play himself. And it's like, yeah, but they would sometimes. They would do it. It's not a thing. But I will say, even with that being said, the roles of the celebrities have changed over the years, where sometimes it does feel very forced. Yeah, you can see a theme. You can feel a theme, right? Oh, and I was going to say another episode I really like. A recent one was the 2 episodes I put out. Season 34 here, Habeas Tortoise, which is a really great episode. It's like about kind of the idea of cults and things and conspiracies and the camaraderie of sometimes being in those groups, but how it can also be a bad thing. But you can feel like the friendship. And then Lisa the Boy Scout, which is an episode that I won't spoil, but if you watch it, it starts out with Lisa joining the Boy Scouts, and immediately, which is also kind of funny because I thought it was junior campers or whatever, but immediately changes to something completely different. You should just watch that right now, honestly. So, just saying. The role of celebrities have changed over the years. Like the episode, one of the worst episodes in my opinion, and this is what a celebrity I really like, is Lisa Goes Gaga. Or is it? Yeah, Lisa Goes Gaga. I don't like that one. That's one that would be on the list, I would think. Because this is an episode that basically is written around how great Lady Gaga is. It is done in a way that's just like ridiculous, like the stuff she's doing, like feeding diamonds into her train to power it and stuff. And in a way, it does fit that the town basically are star obsessed, and they kind of like hold a holiday for it at one point. And I mean, they did this back in the day when Michael Jackson was coming. Right, so like this is nothing new from the town. So it's not exactly, but it's not a good episode. But like that one, for all its faults, I think it's not a good written episode. But this next one's worse, and that is probably not really shocking with that lit up. The Musk Who Fell to Earth. That's not the thing. Where the hell's the picture? Stupid tablet. Yeah, the Musk Who Fell to Earth. AKA the Elon Musk Simpsons episode. Now, let's take all the baggage out of the way here of him being a Nazi and being a shitty dude that's fucking up our country left and right currently in a job he shouldn't even have and shouldn't have any real authority on. Let's ignore that for a minute. Let's try to, if you can. And I just want to point out that this episode, in general, is just a massive piece of shit. Like, even aside from that, hell, I'll go even better if you can. Picture you don't know who this man is. I didn't when I watched this episode. I had no idea who the fuck he was. You see this man And so it's like kind of like Ed Begley Jr. appearing in The Simpsons. I didn't know who he was, but he had like one scene and it was funny, right? Back in the day. So basically, we don't even start out with him. We start out with the bald eagle. Homer wants to catch it. There's a really like funny good 5 minutes at the beginning of the episode where we get a plot that is like not even really a plot, but they're trying to catch this bald eagle and trying to set it free, and then they do. Also, we get a joke about Bart naming the eagle, and that's how Homer named Maggie, and Maggie opens her mouth and catches fire. Really funny. They release the bald eagle. They send it out to the sky. Also, I forget the eagle's name. I think it was like Pecky. And I'm like thinking, because like, come up with a good name, Bart, and the joke is going to come with a bad name. He did. But I was like, well, that's still better than Eagly. I like Eagly, but like, that's still better than Eagly. You know? Excuse me a minute. But anyway, I was saying, they released the eagle, and what happens when they release the eagle? This rich jabroni comes down in a spaceship and fries the eagle with rocket fuels. Already, we're off to a weird start. This man just killed a bald eagle that we at least care a little bit about from the first 5 minutes. And then it gets weirder, because basically, Elon Musk's whole shtick at this point. Well, first we get the cringy line of Lisa saying that Elon Musk might be the smartest man in the world, and she starts listing these things that he does. Now, keep in mind, when this episode aired in like 2015-ish, so 10 years ago, I had no idea who this dude was. So far, I knew at least I was telling the truth. But yeah, I'm kind of jumping out of the thing of picturing, just taking your mind out of this. Let me point out that some of the things she said are just full of shit. You know, like you got saying that he think about like he made the electric car and gave them to the patent to the government. That is not true. he didn't give the patents. He got paid for the patents. He got paid. The government buys the cars. So we're off to a great start. Lisa calls him one of the smartest men in the world. One of the smartest men, possibly the smartest men on Earth, whatever. And again, this is the weird thing is like at this point we've had characters in the show who are based on real people who are smart people, and at the same time, like Stephen Hawking has been in the show, for example, and at the same time though, it's a weird dichotomy because this man is an inventor. We set that up immediately. He's an inventor. He's supposed to be a smart inventor. We have Professor Freak in the show who's invented things. He's shown to be a smart inventor. He invented a machine to show people their like future lives and whatnot. Like there's another episode that I think goes after this one where he invents a thing where people can enter dreams, Inception style. Like, but this is the man. This is the guy that we're supposed to like. That's supposed to be the best inventor. Already, like some random schmo. This is like it'd be like. It'd be kind of like if Arthur Fortune showed up in town and he's this new rich dude. He's an exciting millionaire. But that's for the point of one episode of Burns to get jealous, you know? That sparks something. This would be like this dude, he's the new smart dude that we're going to care about. Right? So basically, the whole thing with Musk, he's stuck for inspiration. He can't think of anything. He can't invent things. Well, I don't want to get too into it, but not really much of an inventor, but anyway. Anyway, he's like... the idea they immediately set up is that Homer wants him to go to the plant with him. And so he's in the car with Lisa. Lisa tags along because she wants to talk to him or something. And Musk immediately is like, I don't waste my words unless I have a stimulating conversation. And he starts writing notes down on paper and Lisa keeps reading them. And it's not even really a joke. He's like, I'm sad. Oh, why are you sad? Because I don't feel inspired. Well, have you tried ideas? It just goes on for like 2 minutes and it goes nowhere. He just fills the car up with paper. That's the gag. And then Homer says something and he starts doing some weird connection where he's like Dr. House or something, or he's like somebody with the board connected. I don't know. Basically, he makes a weird connection. Doesn't really make sense because Homer's dumb, so he's smart. The whole setup is that Homer is as dumb as he is smart. It's the same thing that how Rick said to Morty before that he is a perfect shield because he is so low in intelligence compared to him that the other Ricks can never find him. You know, something like that. Basically, they don't say that, but that's kind of the idea. That Homer is as dumb as he is smart. Just keep that in mind right now. Hold on. Homer is as dumb as he is smart. So we immediately get, he takes him to the plan. He starts doing stuff. This episode is really, really explained because I just watched it 2 days ago and it feels like it emptied my brain. It's like it was gone because it's so bad. And like it's we do get one scene where he's in town like announcing things, and Professor Fink is like, "Oh my, yeah, my Gahaven. Could you even do? Could you even your? At least you don't have to worry about the. You have to deal with the Gahavens, right?" And he goes like, "Oh no, I already figured out my Gahavens." And Professor Fink's like, "Oh." So even in this episode, Professor Frink just gets bitched out. Like you get treated like nothing. You're a literal professor who's done things in this show. You've created all these inventions. You're not in the episodes much, but you have created things. And yeah, you don't matter because we got Elon Musk here. Because why would you matter? Why would we need you? That's basically what they're saying. So basically, at some point, he goes to meet Mr. Burns, and he wants to build a hydrodynamic. I can't speak right. Generator for a plant. And this is probably one of the cringiest lines. Now again, this is going to be hard. Try to picture you don't know this person. You don't know who this guy is. So basically he says, Mr. Burns, he wants to hire Elon, but he refuses. He's saying he doesn't care about money. Yeah. We don't even really get a reason, like why he just doesn't. Anyway. So they set up this plant. They set up this hydrodynamic generator. It's gonna help fill the city's electricity needs. Smithers is like, yo, something is up with this dude. Cause nobody gets this rich without being evil. And Smithers, though, having spent all his life being a sidekick and also harboring a big crush for one of the most rich evil men on earth, and then later dating another rich evil guy. Fun facts. Also a good episode of Simpsons. I don't remember the name of it though right now. But that's another good one though. Good one I really enjoyed. But anyway, also this leads to a part where Burns sticks the hounds on him. There's a pretty funny bit where he's like, you know what I'm going to say, Smithers. And he goes, release the hounds. He goes, actually I was going to say goodbye, but you're right, it's better. That is pretty good. If there's one thing in this episode that saves it from being almost unwatchable, it's that Mr. Burns is good for most of it. And then we get a really weird part where Bart and Lisa sneak into his cyber car thing, electric car, his Tesla, and they break in, they take it for a joyride, and it's just like POV style for like a minute where there's like no jokes. It's just them going around the town. There's nothing even constituting a joke. It's just like, oh look, it's like me playing hit and run. Like, oh my god, look at that. That's a real thing like this show. Except, in that case, it's a video game that I'm getting to see things in 3D. This is just, here's the cartoon. Here's some animation. And they go to the plant and basically they set up that Elon's like, oh, well, we're going to set up this thing, this hydrodynamic. It's going to help the town, but it's going to cost you $55 million. And Burns like, oh no, I like my money. And then Elon's like, yeah, but it's okay. You're helping the town. Money's not the important thing. Yeah. And yeah, that's... Yeah, he's got... So the town's... Basically, the town's losing $50 million a quarter. Oh, and he wants to save the Earth. Okay, so then Burns fires a bunch of people. And we get a brief montage where there's a gag about them repeating there's a depression in Springfield. And they start singing songs like the 30s depression. The joke being that, oh, we're still depressed and stores are closing. There is one good, like, store closing guy in here. I wonder if I can find in the episode real fast. Hold on. Side note, too. Am I the only one who finds annoying how hard it is using Disney Plus to rewind? I have, like, DVD over there that probably rewinds better than this. And this is supposed to be some high-tech thingy. But I'm rewinding. I'm trying to see the gags about the depression. Because there was, like, one good one in here. There is stuff in here. If anything, this episode it might be better, weird as to say, than the worst Rick and Morty episode, because I didn't find maybe like one joke in that. There's at least some stuff. Like the first 5 minutes work really well. It's almost like they were doing the first 5 minutes to set you up with the idea being that, oh, this is all you're getting. This is the funny part. I hope you like it because you're not getting anything else. This is just gonna be one big billionaire ass kiss party after this. Hope you like it. Well, they call it also. They call it the Great Depression. I'm gonna explain these things to you. We have an unemployment line. Homer looking at that. They do use a cool animation. They kind of makes it look like an old timey thing. And then they're singing the song is pretty good. There's a part where it has this depression museum, and more depressed than ever. And they close down the museum. It's like people sitting in line. That's a good like screw the audience gag. and we get a thing of Lenny going up to Krusty Lou Studios with the coconuts in his hand. It says no Foley work, and he looks sad. That's pretty good. I'll give him that. Like this is another thing like this in the first 5 minutes of the episode. Just pretty good jokes like here. Professor Frink. We aren't done kicking Professor Frink. We have to ruin his life even more. So he has this pill that's supposed to like leave you fulfilled. This is his last invention. And a raccoon takes it, and and then he's sad. And then the raccoon has like girl raccoons with him, and he's sad again. He's like, "Oh, it got women too," which yeah, I did like, that did a choke on me, but she's like, "Gee, what are we doing to Frank, man? What did he do to deserve this? He's not even a bad guy. He hasn't even done anything remotely evil." So yeah, I don't even know how the depression affected. Like, why is everybody else fretting because Burns fired people? Like, it doesn't even really add up to me because it's just Burns. Not everybody worked at the power plant. Oh, also Burns plots to have him assassinated. Then he there again. There's a funny, like I said, Burns. He hires old assassins in this, and Spears like, well, don't you think you should hire somebody better? And he's like, hey, just because somebody can't see or can't hold their hand steady doesn't mean they're bad. They're bad assassins. And then they end up taking a shot. Elon sees it. He pushes Homer out of the way. Homer also wants to break up with him as a friend because he's like he can't deal with this anymore or something. And basically, that's the episode. We basically end with Springfield in a dystopia. There's never any indication that they ever came out of this slump. You know, there's nothing to suggest that, like, oh, well, he fixed it, or Mr. Burns fixed it, or Frink fixed it. Dude, like, this episode could have been a Treehouse Horror episode with how little consequence. I know Simpsons of consequences is weird because they will kind of just ignore consequences later or add extra context that doesn't really make sense. But this is just one where, like, this feels really weird to have the town destroyed. Like, you would figure in most stories like this, the way Simpsons usually does it, the third act would have, like, some kind of thing, like, where somebody does something. Not just Homer, like, this becomes more about Homer's relationship with this rich dude that randomly showed up. Like, even Max Power. Like, Max Power's third act, you think about that Max Power, Maximum Homer Drive, that one. The third act was like, I might be kind of show my age here, trying to remember this. Third act was like him coming to terms with like deciding that, you know, he doesn't want to be Max Power anymore, you know? Oh, also, continuing the weird context here. So we have a few things here at the end. He leaves for his rocket. He gives Bart an actual lightsaber. Again, like one episode before, we had Cosmic Wars. So is the lightsaber a thing here? This season, by the way, has the Lego episode, the Simpsons Robin episode, and the episode where they go to the King Coda's planet. Along with the most of Earth. Insane how the quality dropping, like how it goes up then drops. Like, wow. Oh, also, he comes at one point, Lisa tries to leave with him, and he says, is there anything you can give a girl who's worried about the future some hope? And this is a point where you would think in most episodes he would just say no. Like a character would say no, like the joke is setting up, oh, it's gonna be, you think he's gonna say something hopeful, no, and he's gonna say no. And like Simpsons does that a lot. Or it's gonna be something goofy, but he just made a solar panel bird treehouse, a bird feeder. Yeah, that's all he did. And he leaves space, and he hears Spaceman. Which also is probably like one of the Spaceman, David Bowie. Oh no, Starman. There's a Starman. That song. Probably also a good part because it's good. It's a good song. But yeah, this whole episode is very bad. Like it doesn't. It's weird. It's very weirdly written. Burns is usually trusting of this random rich dude that's supposed to be smart. Homer is just kind of there. Homer has this weird friendship with him. Lisa's simping for him in a way she usually doesn't to celebrities. Like most of the time to celebrities, she's not really a simper like that. Marge is just here. She doesn't really do anything. Like they're in. We get a whole plot about the town being dystopian because he fucked everything up, and then it just forgot about. Like, he just left. I mean, that's probably the most accurate thing, that Elon Musk left a big mess, destroyed everything, and just fucking peaced out. But yeah, so that was episode. Let's see why this sucks. Like, first of all right, if you don't know who this man is, you're probably wondering why this whole episode was made to basically kiss his ass for no reason, because it's very, very much just like, here's this episode about how smart this guy is and how he's trying to save the planet and everything. Now, he does run the city, but he doesn't really face any consequences for that other than almost getting assassinated, but stopping it. And even then, he's the one who stops it. And then getting broken up with by Homer. See what I mean? It's just weird. Like, just spitballing here, right? Just spitballing. What if? I'm just spitballing. Third act, right? We need somebody to help the town. Elmo over here isn't good enough to do it. Right? And he's stumped. Even Homer isn't helping him. So he asks, he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then just have Lisa come up with an idea. And he like, oh, that's brilliant. Why did I think of that? I don't know who I am anymore. And then Lisa implements the idea. The town is helped. They find a way to go through it. And then you just have him leave because he's disappointed. He's like, well, I messed up here and you were right, yada, yada, yada. At least there's a story there. Well, what even was this? This rich dude came to town, tricked Mr. Burns to do the right thing-ish, and then mess it up worse, and then Homer's his friend. Like, it's now, I've said up to now, if you don't know the context. Now, if you know who this man is, it gets even worse, because now you have the Simpsons actively having a Nazi on their show, and not even in the context of Hitler, who's on the show, is not to be made fun of. This is the actual Nazi, where most of the episodes spent talking about how brilliant he is. He's written to be such a sympathetic character, such a smart dude, who he's not doing anything wrong. He barely does anything wrong. It wasn't his fault. Mr. Burns made a fucky-wucky and fired everybody. It's not his fault. He's not fired everybody. Oh, and the dramatic irony of this rich douchebag and not wanting money, and also that he's not the one firing anybody. It's Burns. Like, the context is just, it's insane. It's an episode that gets worse, like, basically every day. It's rare that you get an episode like that. But this is an episode that indeed does get worse daily. It can't not. Like, maybe a few years ago, you would have been fine. But once he bought Twitter, that's when it's like, it's getting worse context every day. We're hearing more fucked up shit from this fucking idiot. And therein lies a problem, because now you have Lisa simping for a stupid, rich, entitled, douchebag, Nazi prick motherfucker. You have Homer being his weird little friend in a plot that doesn't really fit. You have Mr. Burns being very unsuspectingly trusting of this man. And you have a mediocre at best, a mediocre being generous, like a fucking bad, horrible, shitty episode. The worst episode ever. The least that I've seen. Because you're glamorizing Nazi. There's not a good story here. There's maybe tops like maybe 7 minutes of good jokes in the whole episode out of like 12, almost like not even half the runtime. And you make Mr. Burns kind of look like a schmuck, and you make Professor Freak just look horrible for seemingly no reason. So yeah, this is also one that I feel like in the future, this is one that maybe the Simpsons might just remove from like all places you can watch it, like the Michael Jackson one, because like he's getting worse by the day. What do you want me to say of that? I mean, I kind of hope they don't, because I feel like you shouldn't remove episodes even if the people are bad. Because if you're gonna do that, there's lots of episodes you'd have to remove. And I feel like you should leave them up. You can maybe put a disclaimer in the front, like, oh, well, sorry we kissed the ass of a Nazi for 20 minutes. We were not thinking then. I don't know how true this is. I've heard rumors that he paid to be on the show too. So that does kind of make sense in the way this is. But it's atrocious, and like even in season 26, you can find better episodes. You can find better episodes almost anywhere. Easily the worst episode ever. Fuck this episode. Fuck this one and the Rick and Morty one with Ice-T and shit. Speaking of shoehorning a celebrity into the episode. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Screw Apartheid Clyde. Screw Doge. Thank you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching this episode. About our worst episode. I might be back soon with a new one. Who knows? But have a great day.